The Commission on Judicial Appointments is now in session. The Honorable Tani Kentil Sakue presiding. You may be seated. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome. It's a pleasure to see all of you, and a special call out to our California Supreme Court associates here as well, and the many appellate presiding justices and justices here in the audience, as well as from the governor's office. As you know, this is the public hearing of the Commission on Judicial Appointments. It's noticed for this time and place for the purpose of considering the selection made by Governor Gavin Newsom of the Honorable Kelli Evans to the office of Associate Justice at the Supreme Court of California. As the Chief Justice of California, I serve as chair of the Commission on the Judicial Appointments. Our other members are on the Commission are Attorney General Rob Bonta and Presiding Justice Manuel A. Ramirez.
Thank you.
Janelle Baker is serving as Secretary to the Commission. Further, this hearing could not have occurred without the professional assistance of Jorge Navarrete, our Clerk of the Supreme Court, as well as the Judicial Council, as well as the California Highway Patrol. The Commission is in receipt of a letter from Governor Newsom selecting Judge Evans to fill a vacancy created by the nomination of Associate Justice Patricia Guerrero, the future Chief Justice of California, to the position of Justice of California. The state constitution specifies that a nomination or appointment by the governor to the Supreme Court of California is effective when confirmed by the Commission on Judicial Appointments. The Commission received correspondence pertaining to this selection, and we made these letters available to the press and to the public a few days ago. Pursuant to a request by Governor Newsom, the Commission on Judicial Nominees Evaluation, Jenny, the State Bar, has undertaken an evaluation of the qualifications of Judge Evans. Mr. Adam Hoffman, chair of that commission, is present today, good morning, to publicly announce the result of that evaluation and will do so later in these proceedings. Judge Evans has asked that the following persons be called to testify on her behalf. I'll list you now and then invite you each separately to the podium. We have first Ms. Catherine Lhamon. Next we'll have Christy Lopez, and then Shane Safir. At this time, we invite Ms. Catherine Lhamon to the podium.
Madam Chief Justice, Mr. Attorney General, Senior Presiding Justice, I am honored and delighted to testify in support of the governor's nomination of my friend, Kelli Evans, to Associate Justice of this court. Kelli was my chief deputy during the years when I served as Legal Affairs Secretary to Governor Newsom. During our work together, Kelli took on hugely challenging and consequential issues, touching a wide variety of aspects of Californians' lives, including, but of course not limited to, addressing once in a lifetime, once in a century, complex issues arising in the global pandemic. During the first 10 months of the pandemic, after which I left the governor's office and so no longer had firsthand knowledge of work there, we advised the governor as he issued 55 executive orders and 2 emergency proclamations, and we saw 80 lawsuits filed challenging various executive actions the governor took, none of which we lost in that time. Kelli maintained her characteristic equilibrium while shouldering ever more and harder work and helping steer our state towards safety with absolute legal rigor. Having watched and worked with her in those most trying legal circumstances, I have every confidence that there is no legal challenge to which she is not equal. Kelli was a spectacular colleague to me and to the governor and our full team in the hardest legal time in 100 years. I know, therefore, that she will be a superb colleague on this court and that she will continue her tradition marked throughout her career of bringing honor and the highest values of integrity to her public service. For Kelli, that means that in addition to her brilliant legal mind and considerable litigation, legal, and judicial experience, and her even temperament, and her own steadfast belief in justice, Kelli would bring with her to this court the weighty knowledge that she is our ancestors' dream. Most specifically and concretely, she will approach cases aware of her grandmother's hopes and aspirations for and firm belief in an America that treats all communities fairly and supports the dignity and fundamental worth of all people. Kelli judges now with a deep recognition of the ways laws touch people, and she would, as an associate justice in this court, retain that recognition and imbue her approach to each and every case with it in mind, while appropriately and carefully applying doctrine to the cases before her. To be very clear, Kelli Evans loves the law. And by that I mean, Kelli loves every aspect of the law. Since she left the governor's office and became a judge, Kelli has shared with me periodic updates about her experience in her new role. I have delighted in hearing her delight in getting to be the new night warrant judge for her county, for example, signing off on all search warrants with adequate probable cause. And she reported with pleasure on getting to handle diversion calendars. She, who is a giant germphobe, even reported without complaint last winter on being in court every day, figuratively bathed in Purell because of the pandemic, carrying justice forward. Kelli's appreciation for the impact and the importance of each case reflects the work ethic and the pride and love and hopes and dreams of her grandmother who raised her. Kelli's rigorous approach to justice also reflects her values with her partner Carrie as working mothers, intent on safeguarding a community that will nurture and support their daughter Caden and every other parent's child in growing and achieving their dreams. She translates her life experience into receptivity of others' experiences from all walks of life. She has lawyered, aware every day of the expansiveness of the law's reach and the power and necessity of ensuring law touches us all fairly. Kelli also judges with the humility of someone for whom the positions she attained were not assumed, as well as a grace that is unusual for someone whose legal gifts are so extraordinary. In Kelli Evans, Californians will of course gain a justice with a steel trap mind and deep knowledge and appreciation for the law. More, and I think still better, Californians will gain in Kelli Evans a Supreme Court justice who sees them, who can navigate the law without peer, and whose passion for justice will protect our rights and deliver the equal justice that is our aspiration. I look forward to the time when, once confirmed, Kelli Evans will ensure that the reach of the law is true and fair. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on her behalf today.
Thank you for your remarks, Ms. Lhamon. Also, thank you for your great service to the state of California and to your advice to the governor for the aid to the judiciary. We now invite Christy Lopez, professor at Georgetown Law School, to the podium. Welcome.
Thank you. Chief Justice Cantil Sakaue, Presiding Justice Ramirez, Attorney General Monta. My name is Christy Lopez, and I am a professor at Georgetown University Law School in Washington, D.C., where I'm also the faculty co-director of the Law Center's Center for Innovations in Community Safety. And it is my privilege to be here today to speak in support of the nomination of Kelli Evans to serve as an Associate Justice on the California Supreme Court. I've known Judge Evans for decades. We have worked together in a variety of settings at the United States Department of Justice Civil Rights Division and in a private civil rights law firm, and we were even business partners in an LLP we started together. Based on our many years working together as well as the years I have known her since, I can personally attest that Kelli is brilliant and compassionate, fair-minded and unflappable. She not only will be a historic California Supreme Court justice, but a phenomenal one. I first met Kelli during the late 1990s when we were both trial attorneys in the Civil Rights Division in the United States Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. Kelli started working in the Civil Rights Division in 1998 and immediately began doing groundbreaking civil rights work in the area of police reform. In fact, Kelli conducted some of the very first federal pattern or practice investigations of law enforcement agencies, including the United States Department of Justice investigation of the police department serving our nation's capital, Washington, D.C.'s Metropolitan Police Department, and the statewide investigation of the New Jersey State Police. Kelli literally set the standard for federal investigations of state and local law enforcement agencies. I began to get to know Kelli well when we were both assigned to a case involving the implementation of a consent decree in Puerto Rico. The consent decree was aimed at ending unconstitutional conditions of confinement for children who were essentially imprisoned in facilities across the island. It was while working together to vindicate the rights and ensure the safety of those children that I began to understand what a phenomenal lawyer and incredible person Kelli is. I had always thought of myself as a hard worker, but I quickly learned that I had more than met my match in Kelli. During our trips to Puerto Rico, we would begin working early in the morning, often driving across the island to talk with kids about their experiences in confinement. We would then spend afternoons reading case files that were chilling in their conveyance of childhood trauma, and then pore over incident reports documenting everything from uses of force to suicide attempts, before spending our evenings and often late into the night preparing for an evidentiary hearing the next morning, where we would seek immediate relief for these kids in the short term, even as we worked to craft longer-term systemic change. It was exhausting work, mentally, physically, and emotionally. But Kelli was remarkable in her ability to do that work without ever flagging in her efforts, or even more amazingly, becoming jaded in her outlook. Kelli cared as much about those kids and that work during our last trip there as she had during our first trip there. I think that Kelli worked so hard in part because she has a deep appreciation of the fact that while government officials can do great harm, especially to the most vulnerable and marginalized among us, they can also do great good, especially for the most vulnerable and marginalized among us. Kelli understands that which of those two impacts government action has often depends on how individual government officials exercise the authority they are given, whether they do so with empathy and reason and with great care, or rather carelessly, or with cynicism, even callousness. Kelli Evans has dedicated her career to exercising the authority entrusted in her with empathy, fairness, and the greatest of concern. I first saw that during our time together at USDOJ, and I have seen it in her work ever since. When I left DOJ to work at a civil rights law firm, I quickly decided that I needed to recruit Kelli to join me there, and was so grateful when she did. We worked at the firm for several years together, and it was perhaps during this time that it became clear to me what a strong moral compass and unwavering integrity Kelli has. Such unwavering integrity that it was with complete confidence that I decided to form an LLP with Kelli, and we became business partners as well as the co-monitors of the Oakland, California Police Department. Being the court-appointed monitor of a police department is a fascinating job, but not one that is generally appreciated by those being monitored. But Kelli managed to be both appreciated and respected. And I think that's in part because although she sets high standards and expects you to meet them, she is an exceptionally compassionate person. She sees the good in people and wants everyone to have the opportunity to be their best self. During that time, working with Kelli as she fulfilled her role as a court-appointed monitor, I realized that Kelli is the embodiment of a judicial temperament. The American Bar Association describes judicial temperament as one of, quote, compassion, decisiveness, open-mindedness, sensitivity, courtesy, patience, freedom from bias, and commitment to equal justice. The National Center for State Courts describes it as being neutral, decisive, respectful, and composed. Anyone who knows Kelli knows that those words describe her to a T. In fact, I'm not sure I've ever met anyone whose temperament is better encapsulated by that description. Compassionate, decisive, open-minded, sensitive to the needs and feelings of those around her, courteous and patient, free from bias, committed to equal justice, neutral, respectful, and composed. That is Kelli Evans. As someone who cares deeply about improving our legal system's ability to do justice and promote equality under law, and as someone who was born and raised in California and loves this state, I respectfully ask the Commission to confirm Kelli Evans to serve as an Associate Justice on the California Supreme Court. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you, Professor Lopez, for those remarks. We now invite Shane Safir to the podium.
Good morning, Madam Chief Justice, Mr. Attorney General, and Senior Presiding Justice. My name is Shane Safir, and I am very honored to be invited to speak today on behalf of Kelli Evans. I first met Kelli when I was 21 years old. I was fresh out of undergrad, and she was fresh out of law school. I was an admin assistant aspiring toward a law career at the time, and she was a law fellow at Equal Rights Advocates, not far from here. Despite our different positions, Kelli never treated me as anything but her equal, her colleague, and her peer, with a quality of respect and regard that I've seen time and again across the nearly 30 years I've now known her. Regardless of a person's age, pedigree, status, or identity, Kelli unfailingly extends grace and respect. In the decades since, she's become a dear friend, a mentor, a loyal supporter, and in truth, the older sister that I always longed for. We have spent almost every Thanksgiving together since having children, and many before, cooking, laughing, playing games into the wee hours of the night. And she has shown up for me time and again through struggle and joy, with curiosity and tenderness in exactly the ways I needed. Because Kelli is possessed of that rarest combination, the sharpest intellect coupled with the deepest and warmest heart. Driven by this disposition, Kelli is also great in a crisis. So one of my favorite Kelli moments happened in a dental office. Baby Caden was just a few weeks old, tiny, and I had flown to DC to live with the three of them for a few weeks, cooking, cleaning, and just trying to be of service. Kelli needed to visit the dentist, and this meant that I needed to mix and administer a bottle. Now, this sounds like an easy task, but my degrees aside, I somehow managed to create a clumpy mass of formula and water that I'm still convinced traumatized baby Caden. Caden began to wail loudly. Not one to ignore a person in need, particularly her own newborn baby, Kelli came springing out of the dentist's chair in a full bib with the dentist running behind her. But instead of rescuing Caden from my ineptitude, Kelli chose to gently teach me how to mix the bottle. I managed to feed Caden, and Kelli was actually able to get her teeth cleaned. This is the kind of person that Kelli is. Memories aside, let me tell you why Kelli is the right choice to serve on the California Supreme Court in this historic moment. Because she has everything California needs to ensure our judicial system stays aligned with our espoused values. Kelli has unflinching integrity. In nearly 30 years, I have never seen her break her commitment to choosing courage over comfort and doing what's right over what's fun, fast, or easy. I remember being a young teacher at Balboa High School in San Francisco, again, just a few miles from here, and having an FBI officer show up in my classroom to vet Kelli for a DOJ position with then President Clinton. I was so stressed, sweating profusely, until I took a breath, and I realized that even if I tried, I couldn't find something to say that would compromise Kelli's nomination. She is that impeccable in her actions. Kelli also has an uncompromising commitment to fairness. Whether working on racial justice issues with the ACLU, police fairness in private practice, or womaning her own courtroom, Kelli scrutinizes every single decision, in recent years with her reading glasses kind of pulled down to the tip of her nose, through the lens of fairness. She is guided by an unwavering moral compass and a deep commitment to the justice system. We need this type of commitment now more than ever. And finally, perhaps most importantly, Kelli will bring a deep and abiding humanity to the court in an era of great social reckoning. She will adjudicate matters of our state with an even hand, rooted in a fundamental belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. She will treat every person with matters before the court with respect and regard, just as she did me 28 years ago. This is a way of being and serving that we all need to witness right now. Kelli M. Evans, you are your ancestors' wildest dreams. I could not be prouder to endorse your appointment to the California Supreme Court and to call you my sister.
Thank
Very
you
nice.
for those comments, Ms. Safir. The commission will now invite Mr. Adam Hoffman to the podium for the evaluation by the State Bar's Commission on Judicial Nominees. Welcome, Mr. Hoffman.
Good morning, Chief Justice Kantil Sakaue, Attorney General Bonta, and Presiding Justice Ramirez. I am honored to present this report on behalf of the Commission on Judicial Nominees Evaluation to summarize the Commission's rating of Judge Kelli Evans for the office of Associate Justice of the California Supreme Court. The Commission conducted its evaluation of Judge Evans on October 21st, 2022, finding her to be well qualified for service on the California Supreme Court. According to Commission rules, this rating reflects the Commission's determination that Judge Evans possesses qualities and attributes indicative of a superior fitness to perform the appellate judicial function with a high degree of skill, effectiveness, and distinction. Judge Evans' 28-year legal career in both criminal and civil law has been marked by excellence and a demonstrated commitment to ensuring that all individuals receive due process and equal protection under the law. She was raised in Denver, Colorado by her grandmother, who, despite having little formal education herself, instilled in Judge Evans a love of learning. Thus inspired, Judge Evans earned her BA in Public Policy from Stanford University and her JD from the University of California, Davis School of Law. Since then, she has had a storied career, serving the public in a variety of legal roles. She has advanced the cause of civil rights as a deputy public defender in Sacramento County, through nonprofit legal work at the American Civil Liberties Union and Equal Rights Advocates, and as a staff attorney with the United States Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. She also served as a monitor appointed by Judge Thelton Henderson to oversee implementation of the consent decree resolving claims of systematic civil rights violations by members of the Oakland Police Department. In that role, Judge Evans deftly balanced the need for rapid implementation of the reforms required by the consent decree against the department's legitimate need for time to complete those reforms, all while overcoming institutional resistance from some elements within the department. Judge Evans has also served the state of California through her roles as Senior Director for the Administration of Justice at the State Bar of California, as a Special Assistant Attorney General to California Attorney General Javier Becerra, and as Chief Deputy Legal Affairs Secretary to Governor Gavin Newsom. Currently, she serves as a judge in the Alameda County Superior Court, where she has presided over a range of matters from small claims and civil harassment to criminal diversion calendars. Throughout her career, Judge Evans has been widely recognized for her intellectual curiosity, diligence, work ethic, humility, and integrity. She has published articles on a wide range of public policy issues and earned several awards for her devotion to public service. Her colleagues on the Alameda County bench also laud her clear and specific written decisions and her collegial willingness to help in areas outside her assignments. From all this, the Commission concluded that Judge Evans will make an outstanding Associate Justice and found her to be well qualified for the California Supreme Court. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hoffman. We now invite Judge Evans to the podium to make a statement, if you wish, and to answer any questions the commission members may have. Welcome.
Thank you, and good morning. I feel like I should submit and sit down, but
Got this already.
good morning, Chief Justice, Attorney General, and Senior Presiding Justice. It is my pleasure to appear before you this morning. Chief, personally, and on behalf of the Alameda County Bench and trial court judges across the state, I want to thank you for your service to the branch. Your inspirational, your collaborative leadership helped steer the branch through incredibly challenging times successfully, and you always kept the value of access to justice at the core and as a focal point. So I want to thank you for your leadership. I'm so privileged to have you preside over my hearing, perhaps one of your final COJA hearings. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here for you, with you.
Thank you. I'm also excited about, if confirmed, the possibility of serving under the leadership of Justice Guerrero as well. I'm deeply humbled to be nominated by Governor Newsom to serve on this esteemed body. I'm so privileged to be here today amongst family, friends, dear friends, colleagues, mentors, heroes of mine. I'd like to not only thank the governor, but his entire team, including Secretary Luis Cespedes, Deputy Judicial Appointments Secretary Gonzalo Martinez, Deputy Debbie Kuhn, Cabinet Secretary Ann Patterson, former Cabinet Secretary Ana Mata Santos. Thank you all for your work on my nomination. I'd also like to thank the Jenny Commission and all of your evaluators for your hard work on my nomination. And I want to give a special shout out of appreciation to court staff, Janelle Baker, and also Jorge Navarrete. Is Jorge here still? He may have stepped out. He's always, thank you, Jorge. You both have been terrific and so helpful. I also want to thank the CHP for all of your assistance in making sure everything runs smoothly today. Thank you very much. I think I also owe a huge debt of gratitude to all of the current associate justices. You have been so generous, kind, and warm in your connections with me over the past several months. I particularly appreciated Judge Corrigan's cookies. They were delicious. I know she's not here this morning, but they were very delicious. You can ask her about those. You have all made me even more excited, should I be confirmed, about the prospect of serving with such exceptional jurists and exceptional human beings. So thank you all. I'm, as I said, so deeply grateful and awed by the support of everyone who's here today. I know there's an overflow room. I'm sorry that those in the overflow room could not fit in this room due to COVID, but I'm standing on all of your shoulders. And of course, my family, my beautiful family that's sitting behind me is here today, many of whom traveled from across the country to be here. And Commission, with your indulgence, I'd like to introduce the members of my family that I have here with me this morning. So I have here with me, although there are a couple people that are maybe en route or in hotel rooms, but I have with me my wife and best friend of over 30 years, Carrie Shaw, our amazing daughter, Caden Evans Shaw, who flew in from college to be here, my little sister, Krista, and my brother-in-law, Alan, are here. My beautiful aunts, Sharon and Barbara, are here. I also have another beautiful aunt, Naomi, and Uncle Louis that could not travel. They're watching online, I know. My Uncle Daryl is here. There's Uncle Daryl. And my cousins. I have a lot of cousins, and some of them are here today. And in my family, these are all blood cousins, but in my family, once you have a meal with us, you're a cousin. But so the cousins that are here with me this morning, I have my cousins Jeanette and John, and their beautiful children, Amina and Julian. Good morning. I also have my wonderful cousins, Nicole and Deanna and Delaney and Malaya. Thank you. I pledge that if I'm confirmed this morning, I will do my absolute best to serve the people of our beautiful state to the best of my abilities, and I'd be delighted to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney General?
Thank you. Well, good morning, Judge Evans.
Good morning.
I'm honored to be here. What a special moment it is for you, and it's wonderful to have your whole family and friends here. Also really appreciated the comments to hear more about your very distinguished career, your character, your values, and clearly a through line throughout your career has been the relentless pursuit of justice, something I deeply appreciate. And thank you for seeking reform when it's necessary and change in our society and using the law as a force for good. So thank you for that. I think that this role is a fitting next step in a very distinguished career. I'm also grateful to hear more about your compassion and humanity and empathy, which I think is so critical in these roles. To see and value every single Californian who's touched by the decisions that you make is so very important. So I think those are all outstanding attributes that you will bring to a very, very, very talented California Supreme Court.
Thank you.
And my question, I was thinking about asking why your time at the California Department of Justice is the perfect and best preparation for your service as a California Supreme Court Justice, but I thought that might not be very fair.
I already know the answer.
But what I will ask is, you clearly love the law. You're loving your time as a trial judge. Now you're taking a very important and a step that I know you're ready for, to be an appellate justice in the highest court in our state. What are your reflections on what that transition will be like and how your role will change?
Thank you for the question. And I have loved being a trial judge. I'm incredibly grateful to have had this experience sitting in both civil and criminal assignments. I recognize that moving from a trial court to our state's highest court, I'd certainly have a steep learning curve, one that I would relish having the opportunity to climb. My reflections are that there are significant and important differences, obviously, between appellate courts, certainly the highest court, and trial courts. Unlike trial courts, where trial court judges sit as islands or as kings or queens of their domain, appellate bodies obviously are amalgamations of a group of people who come together with excellent experience, strong opinions, passionate viewpoints, and that's exciting to me, to have the opportunity to engage in that sort of deliberation and iteration in evaluating questions that come before the court. So I very much look forward to that. I also look forward to the opportunity to do more writing as well. And I've always appreciated the importance of trial court judges having clear guidance. But I have really come to appreciate it on a deeply personal level in the past year, recognizing the importance of having that clear guidance from on high. So having the opportunity to participate in providing that is something else that I'm very, very excited about and interested in.
Well, thank you. I'm very excited for you and grateful for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning.
Good morning.
I know I shouldn't ask this question, but how are you doing this morning?
I'm great. It's a beautiful day.
Should be. This entire morning, I've had the good fortune of watching your family members. They were seated behind you, and you couldn't see what we were seeing. And the sense of collective pride and joy and happiness. They were just beaming, all of them, each and every one of them. From the moment that I opened this notebook of materials that were submitted, almost on the very, very first page, your grandmother was mentioned, and mentioned again and again and again. I know she's, at least I'm informed that she's not with us in one sense. But your grandmother, I think, saw something very, very special in you at a very young age, I would suppose, that inspired her as well as eventually inspired you. So I can imagine your grandmother someplace in heaven, and her angel wings are just flapping 100 miles an hour with the joy and the happiness and the pride that she shares today with you and your family. I noticed you pointed out your sister, your little sister, Krista, I think the one wearing the orange sweater. And you didn't see this, but as I was watching her, I think there was a tear or two or three that she had to wipe away. And I could just see when she would remove the mask that she was just exuding pride. It's a very special moment for her, as well as for you and your entire family. You're blessed.
Thank you. I am.
Truly blessed.
I am.
In reading this notebook, the first and only concern I had to touch on a theme or a note that the Attorney General touched on was this transition from the trial court to the Supreme Court. And our Supreme Court, over the many years that I've been around, probably far too many, from Chief Justice Lucas to Chief Justice George to Chief Justice Sakauye, the Supreme Court has been noted among other things, for its remarkable and unique sense of collegiality. I thought about this as you go from a trial judge where you're running the courtroom to now being one of 7. And I had questions about that. But as I read through the notebook, not once but twice, I found that really shouldn't be any concern. And I think it was captured in many of your letters of support, your sense of collegiality, but I think it was captured best by the American, if I wrote this down correctly, Constitutional Society, Mr. Russ Feingold. And he went on to talk about you're viewed as someone who might disagree strongly on the merits of a particular matter or issue or case. But you are well prepared, you are a deep thinker, but you're also very respectful of each other's points of view. And he went on to discuss your sense of collegiality. I have no doubt that with your background and your experience and life as well as professional, that you will bring to the California Supreme Court your own sense of collegiality, and we all benefit. The court benefits, the administration of justice benefits, but I suppose perhaps more importantly, the public benefits when it sees a well-functioning court. Might disagree, but collegial, and you bring your own special, unique sense of collegiality. I think you do, but to follow up on the Attorney General's question, so this transition and ultimately trying to get to the ideal sense of collegiality, will that be a challenge for you? Will that be different than past experiences?
Will certainly be different because it'll be a new experience and a new group of people, which is so exciting and something that, if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed, I would relish. In terms of will collegiality be a challenge? Absolutely not. Collegiality, open-mindedness, openness in general is something, those are core values to me. They have been, I think, probably since I was born. I'm hardwired that way. I believe that there's nothing that people of good faith and goodwill who come together can't accomplish. That doesn't mean that they will always agree, but there are often kernels of agreement that can be built upon, and you can go from there. And there are also times when you can agree to disagree, but you can do so collegially, professionally, and move on to the next battle, so to speak.
And your sense of collegiality is well reflected in all of the letters of support. And again, you are blessed to bring that quality to the Supreme Court. Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is an honor to be here to do one of my last coaches with you, for you, about you. I want to make an observation and then ask a question. And my first observation is how poignant it is to me that when you took the podium very quickly after talking and introducing yourself, you introduced your family and your friends, because that's what we hope, that when you come to the High Court, those are the folks, the people you keep in mind when you think about how California law and policy develops. And so how wonderful it is that it is your instinct to very briefly talk about yourself and then immediately turn around and introduce the people you love. And I think I can say safely with on all of the Supreme Court justices present, and Justice Corrigan said she was sorry but she couldn't make it, that I think we're all here excited, not only about you, but to hear that baby in the courtroom. We all enjoy that sound. Not from adults, but we enjoy that sound. We don't hear it here. And so I think for a lot of memorable reasons for this COJA, that will be one of them.
I'm glad.
But
Thank you, Cousin Malaya.
But as I read the book and also just know about your work, and also as Mr. Hoffman has described as your storied career, I wonder what in your positions that really are, many of them are the cap of most careers. Which of those, in your view, has most impacted you as a person, as a lawyer, or in preparation for the Supreme Court, and why? Which position and why?
I have been incredibly privileged to have a rewarding and diverse legal career, and it is so difficult for me to find one moment or one position that was the best, because I've been so blessed and privileged to have so many bests. You heard from Christy, my dear friend Christy, about the work we did as young lawyers at the Department of Justice, charting out police reform litigation and investigations. That was incredibly impactful and still something that is very much of the time today in 2022. So I'm thrilled that I played a role in that. Sad that there's still a need for the work today. Working in the executive positions with the Attorney General's office and with the governor were amazing opportunities. And as Catherine talked about, at the governor's office, we were there during a time of enormous challenges because of all of the policy and legal issues brought by the pandemic. And then, of course, working with the governor and his team to implement his vision of a moratorium on the death penalty was incredibly rewarding. It was a complicated legal issue, obviously a significant public policy issue, and involved lots of different parts of our state. And so I'm not trying to be evasive. I just have had so many amazing opportunities in my career, and I would not trade a moment of them. I have loved the law. I've loved being a lawyer. I've learned something new every single day, and that's one of the things I'm probably most excited about this nomination, should I be confirmed, the opportunity to continue learning about the law and having an impact with the law as a tool of justice. So hard to pin me down on one specific area or item.
I guess the box, all of the above.
Correct, check.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This does complete the list of witnesses who were called here to testify. Is the commission prepared to vote?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor of voting for Judge Evans to be an Associate Justice on the California Supreme Court, please say aye.
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 For the record, the Commission on Judicial Appointments, having considered the correspondence received and the testimony given at this meeting, finds the Honorable Kelli Evans qualified to be Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of California and hereby confirms the governor's selection. Justice Evans, if you wish for a few more remarks, the microphone is yours to face the audience.
Thank you. I wish I could go around and give everyone in this room and in the other room, put on the reading glasses. Someone commented about what a morning. And Justice Jenkins, this earlier, you said, what a day, what a day, what a day. I couldn't agree with you more. And several people have commented about my grandmother. One of her favorite gospel songs was "Oh Happy Day," and today is a happy, happy day. I cannot express the gratitude and joy in my heart. The words thank you are utterly inadequate to describe what I feel right now, what I owe to all of you here, all of you that are watching, but thank you, thank you. I want to thank the governor again for his confidence in me. Thank you, Governor Newsom. And once again, thank you to my beautiful family for traveling here to be here to help me celebrate this day. You are always there with fun and food and humor and music and grace and joy. And so thank you. Thank you for being here. And to my beautiful friends, sisters, speakers, Catherine, Christy, and Shane, thank you all so much. And I think there was some bets between the three about who could make me cry or make each other cry. So I don't know if I'm going to owe money to people, but thank you all for taking time away from your families and busy lives to be here. It means the world to me. And to my Alameda County bench officers who are here, some of them are waving. I know some are in the overflow room. Others are watching at home. Thank you. Thank you. You all have been amazing colleagues to me. I have so enjoyed being a judge in Alameda County, and your commitment to justice, commitment to the people of Alameda County is profound and unflagging, and you're just inspirational. So thank you for your friendship. Thank you for the justice that you provide in Alameda County. I've been so privileged to serve with all of you. Throughout my career, hi baby. Throughout my career, I've been privileged to meet and work with so many judges and so many justices across the state, a number of whom are here this morning. Thank you all, and a special, special note of appreciation to the judges who served as my mentors, as my role models, and the judges who, like Judge Uhas from LA, who encouraged me to become a judge myself. So thank you. Thank you to all my judge friends and justice friends. I also want to again give a special shout out to all of my former colleagues and my still friends at the governor's office, at the Department of Justice, at the ACLU. I have friends and family here from so many areas of my life. I have college friends here. I have law school friends here. I have neighbors and friends. Shout out to Galvin Street in Oakland. We've got some neighbors here. My grandmother has been mentioned a few times, Justice, so you were spot on. She's incredibly important to me and to my entire family, and she's no longer living, at least not in her physical body, but she's definitely with us here today. She's in the room. I feel her. She had an amazing laugh and a fortitude and a strength and a calm quietude about her. I wish that you all could meet her. And Shane, you know, the quote that you referenced this morning was spot on, that beautiful quote that was popularized a couple years ago by artist Brandon Odoms. I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. There's no doubt about it. I am. But when it came to my grandmother, I'm actually more than that. I and all of her daughters, all of her granddaughters, her great-grandchildren, her grandsons, we're more than her wildest dreams. We're actually the direct manifestation of her deliberate, intentional actions to make sure that we had opportunities that she was denied, that so many people were denied. So this day belongs to her as well. People who know me know that I no longer have an original copy of my law degree. And that's because when I buried my grandmother, I placed it in her casket because it belonged to her. Today belongs to her as well. I wouldn't have been a lawyer if it weren't for my grandmother and the opportunity she provided me. I wouldn't have been a judge. And today I wouldn't have been a justice if it weren't for my grandmother. So I believe that my grandmother would have understood, as I do, that the law is not simply, and it's so much more than an esoteric ivory tower exercise. At its core, what is the law about? It's about real people and real communities. That's what the law is about. And so I'm just so thrilled to be here today. And leading up to today, I've been thinking a lot about the special role that courts play in our democracy. One of the core functions of courts, of course, is to uphold the Constitution and uphold the rule of law. And I could not be more proud. I could not be more proud than to be joining this esteemed body to help play that role. The California Supreme Court has been and is and continues to be a beacon. And I promise to all of you, I will do my best to administer justice fairly to the people of this state with a mind towards justice for everyone and making sure that the court's promise of justice is administered equally and fairly to everyone. I'm so excited about working with my new colleagues, justices and court staff alike. I look forward to getting to know you all better. And as I mentioned earlier, I so have loved meeting you over the past few months. And so with that said, again, I want to thank you all for being here today. If you are available, please join me and my family in the Library East Atrium for a short reception. There won't be a formal program, just an opportunity for us to say hello and for me to thank you directly. So again, thank you everyone for coming today.
All yours. All signed up. Thank you.